Welcome, friends. This is the Course in Miracles Palm Beach Study Group. Today we're on Chapter 15, Section 2, The End of Doubt. The atonement is in time, but not for time. Being in you, it is eternal. What holds remembrance of God cannot be bound by time. No more are you. For unless God is bound, you cannot be. An instant offered to the Holy Spirit is offered to God on your behalf, and in that instant, you will awaken gently in Him. In the blessed instant, you will let go all your past learning, and the Holy Spirit will quickly offer you the whole lesson of peace. What can take time when all the obstacles to learning it have been removed? Truth is so far beyond time that all of it happens at once. For as it was created one, so its oneness depends not on time at all. So there is no time in the spirit. It's eternal, and it's always, it's only now in spirit. Paragraph 2. Do not be concerned with time, and fear not the instant of holiness that will remove all fear. For the instant of peace is eternal because it is without fear. It will come, being the lesson God gives you, through the teacher He has appointed to translate time into eternity. Blessed is God's teacher, whose joy it is to teach God's holy Son His holiness. His joy is not contained in time. His teaching is for you because His joy is yours. Through Him you stand before God's altar, where He gently translates hell into heaven. For it is only in heaven that God would have you be. So he's talking about the Holy Spirit here. And that's the Holy Spirit's job. And here we're being told it's as a translator, translating time into the eternal, translating peace out of fear, and translating hell into heaven. So if we but connect with the Holy Spirit, which dwells within us, we can call upon Holy Spirit to translate all of these ego problems that we face in human living and translate them into spiritual understandings. And this all happens in our mind, but it does have an effect in the physical, because thoughts are things. There's nothing in the physical that didn't start as a thought. So if we can get our thinking straight, we can straighten out our physical selves also. Any comments, questions? Paragraph 3. How long can it take to be where God would have you? For you are where you have forever been and will forever be. All that you have forever. The blessed instant reaches out to encompass time as God extends Himself to encompass you. You have spent days, hours, and even years in chaining your brothers to your ego in an attempt to support it and uphold its weaknesses. Do not perceive the source of strength. In this holy instant, you will unchain all of your brothers and refuse to support either their weakness or your own. So how do we chain our brothers? We chain our brothers by judgmental, prejudice, thinking, by hateful thoughts, by anger, fear, and jealousy, by lust, by all of the ego things that negative, all the negativity thoughts that we may have in relation to anyone else. Remember, your brother is yourself. And your brother is a spiritual being just as you are. And the Course is teaching us that we have to see everyone as a spiritual being. If we're going to judge them, we judge them pure and innocent and release all guilt. Any comments, questions? Are you speaking, Maura? If you are, you have to unmute. You're still muted. Do you have a question? Maura, I'm just going to continue. If you can get yourself unmuted and later on, then you can speak. But it looks like you're speaking on the screen, but I don't hear anything. So paragraph 4. You do not realize how much you have misused your brothers by seeing them as sources of ego support. As a result, they witness to the ego in your perception and seem to provide reasons for not letting it go. Yet they are far stronger and much more compelling witnesses for the Holy Spirit, and they support his strength. It is therefore your choice whether they support the ego or the Holy Spirit in you, and you will recognize which you have chosen by their reactions. A Son of God who has been released through the Holy Spirit in a brother is always recognized. He cannot be denied. If you remain uncertain, it is only because you have not given complete release. And because of this, you have not given a single instant completely to the Holy Spirit. For when you have, you will be sure you have. You will be sure because the witness to him will speak so clearly of him that you will hear and understand. You will doubt until you hear one witness whom you have wholly released through the Holy Spirit, and then you will doubt no more. So that really is the key. The key to spiritual transformation lies within our minds, but it's linked to how we think about other people. If we can recognize that of God in everyone and not put up any negative judgments upon them, and not throw any guilt or blame upon them, then we will be at the point of the holy instant, of the revelation, of the atonement, of the enlightenment. But that's the only way it can happen. You can't sit in a cave and meditate and say, oh, I'm connecting with the spirit within me, and that is enough. No, it has to do with how you think about and interact with other people. Did you want to say something, Helen?
Yeah, I didn't quite understand that as you were reading it, but now that you're speaking, it's a little clearer. I think it was this first sentence. You do not realize how much you have misused your brothers by seeing them as a sort of ego support. So in other words, when I do not see someone as a child of God or a brother, if you will, then that's when I am misusing my brothers.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Maura,
Thank you.
you're unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Yes. It's no, it's very clear. I just want to make the comment that it's very hard, and as you're reading, I can not only try to understand what you're reading, is try to understand how can we work on that, because it sounds so easy when you read it, but I said according to every human being personality or the way of life, it's so hard sometimes be this way. I said I love it when I can be listening to you all night. It's amazing and so easy, but I said I'm particular. I need like a more help, just to say, to put in practice every single word. But it's very clear. It's amazing.
Yes, thank you. Yes, if it's not easy for most people to put this into practice, because we are so steeped in the ego. We have been taught as children to hate, to be jealous, to look down upon certain people or groups of people, to be prejudiced or racist or whatever, and we really have to undo all of that ego thinking that we've accumulated over our lifetime. And the only thing I can say is the book tells us be vigilant in your mind. In other words, whenever you catch yourself thinking ill of someone else for however that may be, when you catch yourself, stop and turn yourself around. Have the thought, oh no, I forgive this person. This person is a child of God, just like I am. this person is my brother or sister, and I need to understand that I'm a spiritual being and this other person is a spiritual being, and that God sees us both equally innocent and as spirit, and just let go of the ego thinking. Just let go of the jealousy, the hatred, the whatever it is that triggered you. And the more you do this in your mind, the more you learn how to think like this, then the more you progress towards the enlightenment, towards the atonement. But it's difficult for a lot of people to begin with. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And the more you do it, the quicker you catch yourself. You know, the more you do it, the more you can extend love and forgiveness and overlook. Just forgive the ego thing that's happening, because you recognize what it is. And now you know better. So, sentence 13 says, paragraph 4, you will doubt until you hear one witness whom you have wholly released through the Holy Spirit, and then you will doubt no more. That's our goal. That's what we're working towards, is having that whole releasing of yourself and the other person through the Holy Spirit, completely releasing all of the ego and just embracing the spirit, the love, the forgiveness. Paragraph 5. The holy instant has not yet happened to you, yet it will, and you will recognize it with perfect certainty. No gift of God is recognized in any other way. You can practice the mechanics of the holy instant, and you will learn much from doing so. Yet its shining and glittering brilliance, which will literally blind you to this world by its own vision, you cannot supply. And here it is, all in this instant, complete, accomplished, and given wholly. So there's another part of the book where it says, you can walk and walk and walk up the mountain, you know, getting closer and closer to the summit. But at the end, there's a door. And when you finally get to that door, God will open the door and pull you in. That's a metaphor for the holy instant. You can practice the mechanics of the holy instant, and you will learn from doing so. Yet its shining and glittering brilliance, which will literally blind you to this world, to the ego world, by its own vision, by its spiritual vision, you cannot supply that. That comes directly from God. It's our job to get us to that point, to get us to that door where God can open it, reach out, grab us, and pull us in. And here it is, all in this instant, complete, accomplished, and given wholly. And that's what we have to look forward to. And the first sentence says, the holy instant has not happened for you yet. And then the second sentence says, yet it will. That is the promise that the Course gives us. It will. You just do your job and keep on doing the best that you can do, day by day. Yes, you'll stumble and fall. Get up and start over again. Yes, you'll make mistakes. Learn from it and keep on going, because you are promised. It will happen. Paragraph 6. Start now to practice your little part in separating out the holy instant. You will receive very specific instructions as you go along. To learn to separate out this single second and to experience it as timeless is to begin to experience yourself as not separate. Fear not that you will not be given help in this. God's teacher and his lesson will support your strength. It is only your weakness that will depart from you in this practice. For it is the practice of the power of God in you. Use it but for one instant, and you will never deny it again. Who can deny the presence of what the universe bows to in appreciation and gladness? Before the recognition of the universe that witnesses to it, your doubts must disappear. And that's a big part of it. Your doubts must disappear. You must have faith. Doubting is completely of the ego. Spirit doesn't doubt. Spirit is 100% faith. Any comments, questions?
I just had an experience just like a half an hour ago. This is why I was late. And I was in the line at Burger King, and Burger King locked their door that you could only get to go. You couldn't go in because there were only 2 people working there. Apparently, I found this out later. And it was such a disaster. The lady was extremely mean to me, and I responded to it and retaliated with being huffy, and it just went back and forth and went nowhere. So I ended up having to get out, go around again to pick up the order. And while I was standing in the car, I thought, I have to apologize to this woman, and I have to apologize to her because I mean it, but I still had a little meanness in me. So I apologized, and I did an underhand mean thing to her. And then all of a sudden I realized what I had done, and I looked her directly in the eyes and I apologized profusely for my behavior. And I have to say, by the time I drove off of that property, I felt so good, because I really meant it. I truly meant my apology was sincere in respect to the transaction. There would have been a time, first of all, that I would never have apologized. And second of all, I would have felt the apology not that it would have been sincere, but I would have felt like a weakness. So when it says that in the it says something about your weakness will disappear. And then your power, that's how one, your power will practice the
Yes.
power of God. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I felt that. I felt like, well, I really did something powerful.
Yes, you did. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, sentence 4 says, fear not that you will not be given help. God's teacher, that's the Holy Spirit, and his lesson will support your strength. It is only your weakness that will depart from you in this practice. In other words, you will gain strength by forgiving. You will gain strength by loving. You will gain strength by apologizing. You will gain strength by seeing the other as a spiritual being. And the weakness of the ego will depart from you if you but practice this. And then you'll realize the power of God in you. The power of God is the power of peace. The power of God is the power of love. We have reached the end of this reading for today. So, Maura, do you have anything more you would like to add? Or Helen?
No, I'm good. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Terrence?
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything before we stop the recording?
No.
All righty then. All righty, friends, let's take a moment of silence and then we'll end our recording for this evening.